2023 was a hell of a year. I'm sure it's that way for a lot of people because, I mean, that's just how life is. This year, professionally and personally speaking, I've had successes, I've had failures, probably more failures than successes this year, but it happens. I got married, lost family, I took time off, I took vacations for the first time in a while, I branched out in more content, tried new things, and also on the other end of the spectrum, fell short of goals that I had set myself and just about everything in between. Today, I wanted to round out 2023 with something I've seen a few creators do, and frankly, I have no idea if this video will do well. I don't know if you'll find any personal perspective and peek behind the curtain interesting or anything like that, but I just wanted to talk to you one-on-one, share my thoughts on the year, plans going forward here for 2024, and things in between. So if you enjoy this kind of stuff, let me know. If you enjoyed the video, find it to be a refreshing change of pace, feel free to drop a like, and if you'd like to join the community, seriously, I'd love to have you, so make sure you subscribe. But anyways, let's talk about 2023 and a sort of year in review. Before we get into any analytical side of things here, peek behind the curtain, as a whole, in 2023, I uploaded a surprising number of videos to me, actually. I did one of those year in review things with like TubeBuddy, which is like a companion site for YouTube where it can help creators with a bunch of stuff. It just shows insight and all that. But according to that, I uploaded almost 400 videos on the nose, which is way more than I thought I did. I took time off this year, and that seems like I didn't, so I guess I was just really off in my mind. I don't know. But I mean, also, that includes things like streams, shorts, and regular long-form content, however, so on those, I don't think much of that because things like shorts don't take nearly as much time to create as long-form content, so I'm gonna guess I still felt like I uploaded less by a lot, but just not as much. Of the year, I think that some of my favorite content to make was probably my general review videos on things like Modern Warfare 3's reveal and beta. I had a lot of fun this year just kind of giving my thoughts and perspective on things, something that usually a lot of my content is just based on here's the information, you do with it what you want, I just want to educate you. And while that's still true, I do have fun sharing my perspective as well. It's something that I felt a bit more comfortable this year doing than maybe in years past. Others, I had a blast making things like my camo guides for things like Interstellar Camo Made Easy, but honestly, I think my definitive favorite video that I made in all of 2023 had to have been the rarest camos of Modern Warfare 2 video. If you want to check it out, you're free to. I don't want to use this as like a plug to push another video or anything like that, but if you saw it, you'll probably recognize what I'm talking about. I worked with my incredibly talented thumbnail artist, Mike, who does all the 3D rendering work that you'll see in videos and thumbnails, and we crafted some really cool stuff for that video, I think. We crafted the scene and sequence for all the camo showcases where I didn't have those in game, but he actually like grabbed the actual image files from Modern Warfare 2's game files, 3D modeled it, we put them all on a TAC-V, I think it was, put it on a gun rack and rotated it with a few cool Easter eggs in that scene. There's an operator watch with my logo on it, there was an operator in the back that had the Espresso text logo patch, and a Carnage hoodie with the overall sequence I thought was just, honestly, I think it's probably one of my favorite pieces of a video we've ever made. But I mean, let's take a peek behind the curtain now, shall we? I feel like most wouldn't show you their lows, but 2023 was honestly a pretty low year for my content. But I feel like that's important to talk about and to see in doing something like this where it's transparent. And I mean, we can even start with last year because that kind of illustrates the point of how much of a differentiation there is. So I guess starting with 2022, the phrasing always darkest just before the dawn certainly applied to the hype factor with Modern Warfare 2. I mean, we started the year in a massive lull with Vanguard, but then somehow 2022 turned into being tied for my second best year on YouTube ever. And the first, you can kind of put an asterisk on because that was the year of Modern Warfare 2019, Warzone, and a pandemic where viewership was inflated because, well, everyone was stuck inside with nothing to do. But with 26.2 million views and just under 90,000 subscribers gained, naturally the best videos of the year were all Modern Warfare 2 related, minus one. That was an evergreen video where we discussed the complete evolution of Warzone. But I mean, the hype of Modern Warfare 2 was absolutely palpable. Even if the product didn't necessarily appeal to myself or a lot in the audience here, my best video was what I would consider a hybrid between an evergreen and a more timed relevance with a comparison of a platform. But given that it was during the beta, obviously it's not something that's going to get looked up or searched for too much after the game launches, but you had that window where not everybody had their hands on it and they wanted to see, okay, is it worth picking up? But that garnered about 750,000 views. After the success of 2022, I kind of thought 2023 would have been an entirely different story than we had. But I mean, from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows, it was quite a turnaround in 2023. I amassed 15.5 million views and only around 16,000 subscribers, making this to date by far the sharpest decline year over year, a staggering 40% decrease in viewership, and an astonishing 82% drop in incoming subscribers year over year, with a surprisingly large portion of the year spent actually losing subs per day rather than gaining. Now, to find a year with lesser metrics in my air quote career on YouTube, you'd have to go back to 2017 and Infinite Warfare to see less viewership, and even further back to 2015 to see less subscribers subscribers gained, both before I ever considered being a full-time creator. Now, thankfully, I'm not worried about this just yet because I've been smart enough to diversify any revenue streams between sponsorships, investments, and more, so one bad year doesn't endanger what I love to do, nor does it endanger the incredible people that I work with in any capacity and my ability to pay my teams. So if you're preying on the espresso downfall over one bad year, sorry to disappoint, but also not really sorry to disappoint. Beyond that, though, we can dive way deeper into some cooler analytics, but I won't go too far that it's boring. But in terms of other 2023 details, my content was watched for 1.2 million hours on the year, the equivalent of 140 years. Overall impressions, not views, but instead the amount of times content was seen in feeds, clicked on, or visible in any real capacity was 149.5 million impressions. Kind of wild to consider. The average impression click-through rate, or CTR, meaning the percentage of times that a video was scrolled past versus clicked on in any sort of feed, that was 7.8%, which was actually up from 2022. That was, I think, 7.4, 7.5 in 2022. So nice to see that increase. Some videos do way better than others. Like there's a video that I still think to this day has, I think, a 17% CTR or something like that. I think that was the video talking about how to unlock the Tempest torrent in season 1 or 1.5 of Modern Warfare 2 as fast as possible. You just go into DMZ and unlock it. But then you get videos that don't have good CTR, but it's one of those things that, again, it fluctuates. Every single day is different in terms of CTR, but in terms of like general targets for a channel my size, that's relatively on par. The average view duration, meaning that of all the views that I got, how much was one viewer watching my content mostly on average? If you could pick one out of the bunch, what's a safe number you'd give it? That was 4 minutes and 46 seconds across all videos that received views. So not only just uploaded in 2023, but also like all throughout every video that was ever viewed in 2023 on my channel. The longest average view duration was 10 minutes and 1 second from my beta review video, which currently still sits around 86,000 views as of recording this, which is honestly kind of nuts for me to consider that for one single video, hearing my thoughts out on what I thought of the game was an average of 10 minutes. At one point, it was even nearly 17 minutes on that 22-minute video, which is absurd to consider. But honestly, again, it's cool because this year I felt more comfortable talking just real talk and chatting my thoughts and feelings on things. So to see that that was my highest average view duration video is pretty cool. Now, that said, why was this year such a massive decrease by comparison to 2022? What went wrong? What did I do differently? Or what did I do incorrectly this year compared to last? And better yet, where do we go from here? Well, for one, from the onset of the content at hand with Modern Warfare 2, especially that of Warzone 2, I think it was a product that was different than many had hoped. Personally, I didn't like it. If others did, I'm glad. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I truly am. But what's odd with how Modern Warfare 2 was marketed was that it was this hype period of honestly like an entire year before we even saw the game revealed. Like, we knew going into Vanguard that Modern Warfare 2 was the next game up. It was confirmed in February in a developer call that Modern Warfare 2 was going to be coming, though the name wasn't Modern Warfare 2 at the time. But like, we knew for the entire year leading up to that, either leaks or officially mentioned, that Modern Warfare 2 would be coming. So it was basically this thing of enough of Vanguard already, just give us what we know next. So you didn't get the game announced until late. We didn't see gameplay until the literal day before it was playable as a beta. COD Next was actually the day before everybody got hands-on with the beta. Just keep that in mind. It was a lot of banking on nostalgia, banking on a lot of hype, and then no time to use any feedback to help better the game, even if Infinity Ward had wanted to take any feedback into consideration. I also personally think that content-wise, especially the early seasons of Modern Warfare 2, really dropped the ball. The thing that I'll always remember is that it took 5 months to get our first original 6v6 map that was brand new to the game. So from a lack of content to changing things just for the sake of change, the whole year to me just felt off, and I feel like that was echoed with a lot of the feedback that I had seen in comments and other things throughout Modern Warfare 2 content and Warzone content this past year. I'm sure that I'm not alone in that sentiment, but while it is incredibly easy to blame factors beyond my control, that does me no good, even if it's true to any sort of extent. That could be 1% true, it could be 100% true, but how can you be expected to grow if you don't take accountability? What did I do incorrectly? Well, frankly, probably a lot. One of the first things that I can look back on in just like a general blanket is my demeanor changed on existing content big time. Not even in the sense of, oh man, now he's not going to speak his mind or anything anymore. No, we just talked about how some of my best performing videos is me giving my thoughts and feedback and opinions on things. That's not going to change. But like, I'm sure that it was very apparent that this past year when I covered Modern Warfare 2 or Warzone, For the most part, I did not enjoy the game last year, and I'm sure that came through in a tonal display of videos presented for the game. I'm sure that I did not sound happy. From building an audience for years as a positive person, or at least I like to think I'm positive, I felt off-putting, and I'm sure that probably came across as that in my videos. So I'm hopeful that this upcoming year, that the fact that we have another Black Ops game seemingly on the horizon, I'm enjoying Modern Warfare 3, whereas I didn't enjoy Modern Warfare 2, so I feel happier as a creator at this point, even if, say, viewership is still down. It happens. But beyond that, as a result of not necessarily enjoying the game, I started for the first time in a decade of content creation, uploading games that are not Call of Duty on a regular basis. XDefiant, the finals, some Battlefield, a little bit of Apex mixed in there, some cool and upcoming games like Delta Force, to most recently the discussion on Gray Zone Warfare. Creatively, that was insanely liberating, as liberating as it can get. But if I can be candid, it's absolutely terrifying. YouTube inherently is a rabbit hole, right? Just like any media platform, their algorithm is designed to keep you watching as much as humanly possible. They feed you content they think you'll like in hopes that you'll keep swiping and clicking. The same thing goes for the creative side of things as well, but on the inverse. If you do something for so long, you're basically embedded in that stream of recommended content and the algorithmic pushes to where if you change it up, it can often do catastrophically bad. And that's where branching out can sometimes be hard. If I can be candid, I think, and perhaps I'm wrong, I think that this is a fear most creators have. A few of the, do they like me or do they like the presentation of the information that I'm giving them? And that's a fear that I've tried plenty to tackle this year and I'm honestly pretty proud of. Not only head-on approaching that fear of failure, but also embracing it. Did it work out every time? Absolutely not. In fact, in most cases, probably it did poorly. That's probably a contributing factor to why some of the growth stagnated. I mean, when you have 500,000 people subscribed for Call of Duty content over the years, and you start uploading stuff that isn't Call of Duty, well, why would they click and watch it? And if they're not watching it, YouTube then in turn is like, okay, maybe we shouldn't recommend it as much, and then a lack of recommended push doesn't push to new viewers, and so on and so forth. Also, sometimes you get the complete opposite end of the spectrum as well, where other people just will unsubscribe if they see something that isn't Call of Duty and what they subscribe for. So in some cases, it did poorly. But you know what I would never have figured out if I didn't try that? That a ton of you really like the content on XDefiant, that a ton of you enjoy the content on the finals. I mean, of even just this past month, my XDefiant content has been #1 and #2 in viewership. I hadn't uploaded XDefiant content since like September or early October on a channel that has been COD-centric for 10 plus years. Those are #1 and 2 out of the past year. Hell, for the first time, I had a video that was not Call of Duty approach the 6-figure mark for views. And for a lot of people, that might not seem like a whole ton, like, oh, you have 500,000 subscribers. Why is not every one of your videos getting 6 figures? Besides going down a rabbit hole in discussion that is just a different thing entirely, that's never happened for me before. I've had plenty of videos in the hundreds of thousands, 500,000, even a dozen or so in the million plus range, but never once before this year did I ever come close to scratching 6 figures on a video that's not Call of Duty. I'm happy with that. Again, not only conquering an anxiety, but to be able to have a creative outlet that isn't Call of Duty. For me, I love being able to look at my content calendar and not having to be like, okay, there's nothing really going on in Call of Duty space, but I need a video. What can I pull out of my ass? And absolutely, I'm sure there are people that will not see quality in every single video I upload. I get that, that's fine. But from my perspective and the creative basis of, would I watch my videos? Would I find it interesting? I feel like this allowed me to cut down on a whole hell of a lot of what I'd probably describe as filler. So yes, that naturally cuts into algorithmic push, changing the entire makeup of what your audience was subscribed for when you're trying to serve content. That's absolutely going to be a massive impact on channel performance. Another thing that I've done, perhaps incorrectly, is contribute to the shift in some content mediums. In 2023, I experimented quite a bit with shorts, but like not really enough to grab a hold of a shorts audience to boost engagement and viewership, which is really kind of what I think shorts is really only good for as a long form channel. Shorts, for those that are unaware, are just horrible for revenue. So like in terms of the business side of running a channel when it's your job, shorts are not the way to go. You can get like 5 million views on a short and it'd yield like maybe $100, when in comparison, not to break it down too much, 5 million views on a long form video, depending on your CPM, RPMs, and other revenue factors, it truly changes depending on channel, content category, niche. There's a million different factors that I could never give you a definitive answer. Like I guarantee you that PewDiePie's CPM and RPM in gaming is way different than what mine is, or like what my friends in the COD space get. But 5 million views on long form content would be easy 5 figures. So 5 figures versus $100. But when you focus on things like shorts, because you really just want to focus on bringing new subscribers in that can then transition into being fans of your real long form content. It's kind of a way to just bring an underlying viewership consistency, but only if you are consistent with it, because I wasn't. So that one's on me. It fell flat and may have shifted some of how YouTube recommends content in those content styles, but there's absolutely things that I could have done better. Now, looking at my top 10 videos on the year, it's interesting though, because number 1 is a blanket informative video that I did not expect it to do anywhere near as good as it did. 1's an announcement of gameplay for Modern Warfare 3 early, 3 are guides, 2 are like just evergreen format of content that can be watched at any point. I still maintain, again, that Rarest Camos video is one of my favorite videos I've ever worked on, and the rest are just like standard random videos. Algorithmically, most of these I just didn't hit the check marks on criteria for maximized potential as well. Long form content is a cheat code. The longer the watch time, the more the video is likely to be recommended. The higher the click-through rate with good thumbnails, the more likely the video is to get recommended. The more evergreen or sustainable content can be beyond a sort of hype period, so the more that'll grow and continue to grow over time. So reviewing this year, I was kind of all over the place, if I'm honest with you. Mentally, professionally, and here in the content it absolutely showed. So what's next? What will 2024 bring here to the channel? Well, I'm very much so hoping that this is the same sort of springboard back to where I'd call a successful year by my own metrics and the goals that I set myself, akin to what happened in 2022 ahead of Modern Warfare 2's launch. From a purely Call of Duty perspective, I think that all eyes are certainly on Treyarch. They're the first studio and game to have a full, uninterrupted 4 years of dev time. That's not something we're used to. I mean, it's a franchise first. So there's absolutely going to be hype around that game, and I think that a rebound is certainly possible, but I, for the first time, don't want to just do that. I feel like each year when I look at the goals I set myself, it's always so narrowly laser focused. I want to upload more than just Call of Duty. I want to be able to make variable styles of content. I want to be able to upload a video essay, followed by a tips video, followed by a class setup video, followed by a review video of a different or new game and IP, followed by perhaps gameplay videos of some kind. So while, as we've mentioned, algorithmically, that may not be too pretty and may not be a neat sort of presentation for how things will come across, but it's kind of what I want, and I'm just hoping things work out. Frankly, I feel like out of 10 plus years of doing things, I still don't have a damn clue of what I'm doing, and that's kind of part of the fun, building something as we go along, but also it's a little terrifying. So in 2024, you can expect to see still plenty of Modern Warfare 3, Warzone, and other Call of Duty content leading up to 2024's COD. So if you're here for that and have been here for COD all these years, don't worry, it's not going anywhere. I simply just want to add to that. I want to supplement some content with other things. I'd rather give a review video of a game that I think you might like and may find interesting rather than talk about a playlist update in COD. I'd rather put out a fascinating video essay or cool topic on something in COD history versus talking about a Trello board update. I think that for the sake of that creative liberation, I think I'd like to create a video once a week on average that isn't Call of Duty. So maybe not like every Thursday or something, but like over the course of the year, about 50-ish videos that aren't Call of Duty. Let my mind run free elsewhere, be happy with what I can create, and hopefully share some cool stuff with you in the FPS genre that you might like, on top of keeping you covered with all things Call of Duty. So that is 2023 in a nutshell here with this. Was it my best year? Absolutely not. Did I have a lot of fun this year, and did I find it creatively liberating to switch things up? Absolutely. I think that even amidst the failures, I might actually be one of the happiest points I've been in the YouTube game. Absolutely, it's stressful to see 10 out of 10 so often as I did this year in the 1 to 10 ranking scale, but like, it happens. I've done YouTube long enough to know that you have on and off years, and again, I'm not really worried about it. We'll take things as they go, but for the time being, that's where we're at. Just wanted to fill you guys in here and give you a bit of a transparent discussion and look behind the curtain for what YouTubers like myself go through. I'm not anybody that's atop the game in terms of the YouTube stuff, but I feel blessed enough to be able to do this as a job and to be able to create content for you guys on a regular basis. So I feel it's only fair to bring you along in every aspect if you guys are at all interested in it. So that said, that's where we're gonna wrap it up. Let me know your thoughts down below. Would you guys like to see more stuff like this? Would you like to see me talk about the YouTube algorithm and things that can give creator insights to the general populace? Whatever the case, let me know your thoughts down below. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, you found it a refreshing change of pace, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. I'd love to have you in the community. Again, 2024 might change some things up, but I'm excited for what it may hold. And I'd love to have you in the community if you'd like to join us along for the ride. So that said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.